Hey guys, Doctor Who here with 1HP and welcome back to another exercise walkthrough. This time we're going to go over the perfect gaming or sitting break routine. It is a full body, functional exercise routine that utilizes a lot of the equipment we have surrounding us, our desk, our chair, as well as our own bodies. And it's going to address a lot of the physical stress that we experience when sitting for long periods of time, whether it be hunched over, just using our wrist and hand and forearm and our shoulders repeatedly, rounding our shoulders, forward head, undoing a lot of that, as well as a lot of the inhibition or reduction of control of certain muscles that we develop from sitting for long periods of time. Oh, also, if you're a new viewer, don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications. This routine is best done after a long block of gaming, whether it be after scrims or after 2 to 3 hours of gaming, whichever one comes first. And again, it addresses a lot of the issues that happen when we're sitting for long periods of time. So if you've ever felt stiff in your lower back, your neck, your wrists, your hands, your shoulders, your hips, then this is the routine for you. I promise you, it will not disappoint you. Let's get right to it. We're going to start with the full spine mobility and control exercise, which also has a component for finger activation. Sitting for long periods of time without movement leads to stiffness in our spine and poor control of our abdomen, and we have to undo this. For this exercise, make sure you're tightening your stomach, reaching all the way down. You'll feel it a little bit in your hamstring. Hold this position while pressing your fingers into the floor for about 3 to 5 seconds. Then reach all the way back up towards the ceiling and really try to bring your chest up so you get that full extension, reaching all the way up overhead. And hold that for about 2 to 3 seconds and repeat this for a total of 1 minute. Pressing into the floor with your fingers in that spread position will help to activate a lot of the muscles that you use on a consistent basis. Next up, we have the push-pull multi-level rotation exercise that helps with spinal mobility and activation of our shoulder. You're going to be standing with your feet apart and then rotating with your palms facing up, one pushing your arm out and the other arm bringing your elbow back, squeezing between your shoulder blade, and then bringing it down, level, and then above you, repeating that on both sides for 1 minute total. Going 3 times to the left, and then 3 times to the right, and then repeating that cycle for the duration of the minute. You want to focus on squeezing with the arm that you're pulling back, and then really pushing out with the arm that's going out in front of you. Up next, we have the first round of a hip flexor and overhead reaching exercise. In this exercise, you're going to be standing up, stepping in front of your chair, propping your knee up on top of the chair as shown, and then tightening your stomach, squeezing your glute, and then driving your hip forward until you feel that stretch in the front of your hip. And then you'll sensitize it by reaching up overhead, doing 3 slow and controlled reaches up overhead. And after every 3 repetitions, you're gonna pull your elbow over and feel that stretch in the lat and the triceps. You're gonna be doing this on both sides. And again, remember, you're reaching up, making sure your shoulders are not elevating as they're going all the way to the top. Keep it nice and controlled. And then after every 3 repetitions, you bend your arm, you pull on that elbow to feel that tricep and lat stretch. And now we're going to be performing the second round of these same 2 exercises, starting again with the push-pull multi-level rotation, working on that spinal mobility and shoulder activation, and then repeating again the psoas stretch on both sides so that we can undo a lot of the stress that we're placing our bodies under when we're sitting and playing for long periods of time, especially if we have poor posture. When we're sitting and not really moving, our spine will stiffen up, which is why we need to perform these rotation exercises. as well as if we have our rounded shoulders during gaming, it can also lead to certain muscles not working as well at our rotator cuff as well as into our forearms. So we need to be activating the right muscles to hold our chest up, to bring our shoulders back, as well as stretching the hip flexor muscle, which is attached to the front of our spine, and with stiffness it can pull our spine forward, cause some of that irritation or low back pain, aching that we feel after sitting for long periods of time. This is of course dependent on how we sit as well. If we sit in a more rounded position, we often develop pain because we're just putting a lot of compressive pressure on the joints, and doing a lot of exercises in this routine will be helpful to address overall mobility of the spine and make you feel a lot better as you continue to game or do anything else after gaming. Okay, next up we're going to be doing the chair squats with a chest opening component. All you're going to be doing is standing up, turning your chair around, placing your hands palm down on the sides of your chair so that when you're performing this squatting movement, it will actually put your shoulder in some extension, stretching out the front of your shoulder, as well as opening up your chest. And the goal is to not go to a depth that will cause you pain, but to a point where you feel this stretch in the front of your shoulder, as well as try to get your hips a little lower, practicing that hip hinge movement that we tend to lose when we sit for long periods of time. And then on the way up, you squeeze that glute for 2 to 3 seconds. And this way we can improve the activation of the glute so that when we do any other exercises that require our hip, our knees, our lower body, we're using our glute correctly and we don't put ourselves at risk for developing pain. Alright, next up we have another spinal mobility exercise. This is the chair extension with a rock back. And what you're going to be doing is placing your hands on the side of the chair with active shoulders, pressing your shoulders down into the chair, bringing your hips forward until your chest comes up. You feel that extension along your spine. You might have a stiffness sensation at your mid-back, and then you're going to maintain those active shoulders and then push all the way back so that your arms are overhead, and you'll feel again some stretching in the mid-back. But if you keep your lower back straight, you might even feel a little bit of stretching in your hamstrings or in your posterior chain. And this again allows us to improve our overall mobility of our spine, because we're often sitting in this rounded position that we want to undo after our gaming session. Next, we have a shoulder and core activation exercise. We're doing the scapular depression with the leg raise. And what you're going to be doing is scooting toward the edge of your chair, having active shoulders pressing down in the chair with your torso upright, and then you're going to tighten your abdomen, lifting one leg up in a slow and controlled manner and then bringing it back down, and then alternating with the other leg. And the goal here is to be able to lift your legs up and down without moving your trunk, and you're stabilizing and activating the muscles that are actually supporting the joints of your spine. You want to make sure you're in this upright posture, tighten your abdomen before every single lift. This is not an easy exercise, and then repeat it for the duration of the minute. It's okay to take a break if you get tired. Just get back to performing the exercise when you're ready, and eventually you will be able to perform it throughout the duration of the minute. Next, we're going to be doing an exercise to work on the mobility of your forearm muscles, both in flexion and extension. And the way we're going to be doing this is standing up, turning your chair around, placing your hands on the chair as shown, and then rocking back until you feel the stretch along your forearm. And it's really important here that you're not bending your wrist all the way to the point where you're feeling some aching at the joint line of your wrist in both the palm up and palm down variant. In this position, you're actually irritating the joint. We only want to rock it back to the point where you're stretching some of the muscles along your forearm that start at your forearm and attach all the way into your fingertips. So rock slowly, and if you do feel anything in your wrist, just ease up a little bit on the pressure. For the palm down position, you can rotate your fingers outward so you're stretching a little closer to the thumb side of your forearm. And repeat on both sides with the palm up and palm down variant. For the last exercise, we're going to be doing a desk finger flexibility cycle. And what you're going to be doing is standing up, using the edge of your desk, placing first your 4 fingers, rocking 4 times until you feel a stretch underneath your finger or underneath the knuckles of your hand. And then you're going to swap to the OK sign, or the last 3 fingers. And again, rocking 4 times until you feel a stretch. You might feel it between the first and second finger. And then moving on to the first 2 finger stretch, which is your index and middle, rocking 4 times, feeling it primarily between the middle and ring, and then doing the Spider-Man 2 finger stretch with the middle 2 fingers coming down, rocking 4 times. And then the last one, your thumb only, 4 oscillations, and repeat as many times through this cycle for the duration of the minute. You can repeat another time if you want, and that is the last exercise. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. Hope you guys learned a lot. Hope you feel a lot better. And remember, you can always come back to this video to have me walk you through this exercise routine again. You can always mix and match some of the exercises, but I designed it in a way that helps you work on some of your spinal stiffness first, and then extending out into your extremities. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. And don't forget guys, like, comment, subscribe. Please share this with at least one person you know it will benefit, and I'll see you guys soon.